It's Todd, and today I got Bryant down here with me in the speakeasy, and we are going to be reviewing 10th Mountain Whiskey.
After this.
All right, Bryant, thanks for joining me today.
Glad to be here.
And thank all of you for joining us. And go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. All right, so the folks at 10th Mountain Whiskey were nice enough to send me some bottles to review.
I'm excited to try some of this. We already poured a little bit, so looking forward to getting into and see what I think of 10th Mountain Whiskey.
Yeah. So what I do know about these guys, so the 10th Mountain Division is an Army unit. It's been around since World War II. I think actually a little before. Their specialty is mountain combat and stuff like that.
Right.
And so they named their distillery in kind of honor of that military unit. It's a pretty well-known military unit.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, they are a newer distillery. They haven't been around long. And so I think when we try these, we got to kind of have a grain of salt and take this into consideration. These guys are doing it the way I think distilleries should. They are distilling and bottling and everything themselves. They're not sourcing anything, even though they're new. So these are only 2-year-old whiskeys. So they're going to be young.
No, and I think that's pretty cool. Like I love some of the NDPs out there, and I think we've been to New Riff and we heard New Riff's story where they started off sourcing some of their stuff and they eventually grew to getting theirs up to age to sell. But it's a pretty cool idea to say, hey, we want to start our brand and we want our stuff to be there. And we're going to start it from scratch. No NDP. We're coming out straight with our whiskey. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So these guys are out of Colorado. So they're up in the mountains.
Okay.
They're doing their own distillation, their own bottling. Everything here is 2 years old. We do have the bourbon, which is 92 proof at 2 years old. The rye, which is at 90 or 86 proof, 2 years old, and a American Single Malt, which is 90 proof.
Okay.
So these are all their own mash bill, their own distillate, aged 2 years in Colorado. So I just want to kind of keep that in mind because it's going to be youthy.
Absolutely.
It's 2 years old.
Yeah.
But I think what I'm going to be looking for here is, am I finding notes or I'm finding something that makes me think in another 4 years when they're 6 years old, is it something that I think is going to be good?
Yeah.
Right. Because I look now at like Hard Truth. So when I first ran into Hard Truth, it was just turned 4 years old and I really liked it. And now it's like at 6 years old, I like it even more. And it's kind of the same thing. When I first tried it, it's a little younger, but you could tell this is good.
And I think as I look at these, us guys that have like big bourbon collections, sometimes you just don't feel like going with your major distillers. Is this one that I can sprinkle into my mix that on a regular Tuesday night? Is this one that I want to grab and pour into my glass, head out to the deck, and just relax with a glass of this? So really interested to try and see if this is one that I want to put into my rotation.
Yeah, something you're always looking for, that next craft distillery that you think is going to really make it.
Absolutely.
That's what I kind of do. Whenever I go to these craft distilleries, I don't necessarily judge this against a Jack Daniel's or an Old Forester that has had years and years and decades of experience and barrels that are 15 years old.
Right.
I want to judge it for what it is. I want to say, is this something that I think is going to be an up-and-comer?
Right.
So that's what we're going to do today. So let's go ahead and get started. The first one is the bourbon.
All right, let's give it a whirl.
So the first thing I notice is I don't get a grainy note on it, even though I know it's only 2 years old. But I get a little bit of a floral.
Getting the floral notes as well.
I mean, I'm not getting a lot of complexity on there, but the floral kind of stands out.
It's young. Right. You could tell. Not,
it's not very dark.
Not very dark. Looking at the color on it.
Yeah.
Has a decent nose.
Yeah, it's not it's not astringent.
No.
It's not grainy. I get a little bit of floral, and that's kind of it. There's not much more complexity on there. This is the first time tasting it, so
First time tasting it as well.
yeah, let's give it a try.
All right.
So, it's not astringent on the palate. It's thin, very thin, but 2 years at 92 proof, I couldn't expect it to be oily or viscous. But it's not astringent, and I do get that floral on the finish.
I do too.
It reminds me of like a Four Roses small batch kind of. It's what it kind of reminds me of.
Yeah, and this it's sweet on the front palate, has some of those floral notes, and for me personally, I think I like the taste a little bit better than the nose. Okay. So I thought the taste was a little bit better. It is a newer 2-year whiskey, so it's not as soft and as refined as some of your older whiskeys, but it has a good palate. You know, young.
It doesn't have the astringency. I like that.
Yes.
Like sometimes you'll get some of these, even from legacy distillers, you get some of the lower end bottles, and it's got that kind of raw wood, like it's been in green wood. This doesn't have that astringency. It's got a floralness, a little bit of sweetness. It's thin. It's not coating my mouth or anything like that, but it's not bad at all. I mean, the taste is there. The palate's there.
Right.
It just, it doesn't have the impact.
I agree.
And it's because of the age.
Yeah.
So I think this is something like, as they age, I think it's going to improve as it gets more like those oils and things like that.
No, I think it's a really good starter pour, and it is probably a great mixer. You know,
it would be a good mixer for sure.
A great mixer for sure.
Now, I do have a little bit of the graininess mid palate from youth, but I think this is something that I would like to see in another, like once it hits 4-6 years, and it gets some of those oils that it's going to get from sitting in the barrel, it's going to really improve. Now, the lack of astringency, I wonder, since this is in Colorado up in the mountains, that's kind of like Scotch, right? Scotch in Scotland ages up in the mountains, so it doesn't have a lot of it. I don't like Scotch because of the peat primarily and the single malt, but the way it ages, it doesn't have a lot of astringency to it, because it's aging like in the mountains at a slower rate. You have to give them time. You know, you can't replace time. I mean, although Cleveland Whiskey Company tries by the rapid aging, and that's a complete fail. Yeah. So don't try to replace your actual time with rapid aging. Let it age. I think it's going to be good.
Absolutely.
You know, if somebody poured me a pour of this, and I didn't know what it was, and I drank it, I'd be fine.
I will 100% be fine.
I'll tell you what, it's a hell of a lot better than Jim Beam White Label, which I drank a lot of.
I just spent some time on vacation, and the only bourbon they had was a Jim Beam White Label. Sign me up for this.
All right, so there you go. That's the bourbon. Next, we're going to move on to the rye.
Yep.
Now this, you see, I opened this on a live stream. That bourbon guy, Paul, and I tried this. So I already kind of have an expectation of what's going there. And so this is 86 proof, 2 years old. But keep in mind, rye kind of doesn't have to have the same age as bourbon.
Right.
Rye gets better quicker than bourbon does when it's in the barrel. And it's just got to do with the mash bill.
So this is going to be completely new for me. So you're getting a first reaction from me. I have not tried this yet. So I'm going to clear my palate and look forward to getting into and trying that rye.
Their rye mash bill is a 69% rye and like a 27% corn and the rest malted barley. So it is kind of in line with the Jack Daniel's rye mash bill, where it's a good percent of rye, but still a decent amount of corn.
Right.
That adds a little bit of sweetness to that spice. And
on,
that's my favorite. That range is my favorite rice mash bill.
And on the nose, I'm getting some of the sweetness that you're talking about from the corn.
Absolutely.
Like soon as I went in to nose this, I can just smell some of that sweetness. So I could guess without you saying it that it has a higher corn mash bill. So
yeah, on the nose, it absolutely has a little bit of sweetness coming through.
A little spice.
A little bit of spice. Not very spicy, but a little bit of spice, but some sweetness. It almost kind of reminds me a little bit of like a bubble gum.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see a bubblegum nose on that.
Yeah. And again, 2 years old. So let's go ahead and give this a try.
Give it a try.
For a 2-year-old rye, that's really nice.
It is. It's really soft.
It's very soft.
And, you know, because you've had it before,
Yep.
I can, on the palate, it really has a bubblegum palate.
It does. It really does.
And you probably pulled that more out of the nose. I was only getting it a slight bit in the nose.
Because I've had it before,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
did get it on the palate. That's why I could smell it.
But on the palate,
yeah.
it's more of that bubblegum that you were talking about on the nose. So I could see how, where I was only getting a hint of it and kind of, you know, going, okay, I can see what you're saying there. On the palate, it's bubblegum. All right at the front of the palate.
I get it right in the mid palate.
Yeah. Front to mid palate. I get it right there. Doesn't transfer to the back of the palate, but front and mid palate, I get the bubblegum, the sweetness, a lot sweeter than a lot of ryes.
Yes.
And not as spicy as other ryes.
You know, it's funny. I get the only spice I get on it is on the very tip of my tongue. It's a little bit of pepperiness, and then it kind of starts to transition to the mid palate to that bubble gum, and then it kind of dies on the end.
Yeah.
So the one thing I would like to see is this have more of a finish, but again, it's only 2 years old. But that really, I like that mid palate. It's got a nice little bubble yum type flavor right in that mid palate.
Yeah, I'm excited to go in for the second pour of this because just for everybody out there, I like rye, but I love bourbon. So I was really expecting to like the bourbon more than the rye, and I don't know that I'm there. So this is going to be interesting going in for the second sip.
Yep.
Well, I could already tell you, I'm a fan of the rye whiskey.
I'll go ahead and say now, I like the rye better than the bourbon. That's just me. I like the rye much better than the bourbon.
And I wasn't expecting to say that. Yeah.
And at a 2-year age mark, it's got a very nice palate to me.
I agree with that.
So I'm really looking forward to see this getting older.
I predict, and this is just me predicting after having 2 sips of this, I could see in a couple years with a little more age, this challenging the Sazerac rye.
I would love to see this at Bottled and Bond.
I would love to see that.
4-year proof.
I would love to see that at Bottled and Bond. 100 proof, I would immediately jump into this over some of that. A single barrel of it. That might be a really cool thing to do at 4 years. Just really cool thoughts on this rye whiskey. Yeah,
I think with the rye, with the variants, I think 100 proof at a 4-year age mark, this would be really nice.
Yeah.
If you're watching this 10th Mountain, just keep that in mind.
I'm gonna edge that one out a little bit. All right. Yeah. Just put it in the lead
out there. The lead singer in the back.
Yeah, it's kind of in the lead right now. So yeah, I'm kind of liking that one. So,
all right. So the last one we got is a single malt. So it is a single malt, 100% malted barley, right? Just like you would have from an Irish or Scotch, single malt. It is coming in at the 90 proof. Now, I'm going to say this. I have not tried this yet. I want to say this ahead of time. I don't like single malts. Yep. If you like single malts, I'm sure it's not going to mesh. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm going in this within my head, I don't like single malts that much. We'll see how it goes.
All
right. So right away on the nose, smells like a single malt. I get grain and earth. It's just, that is not my note.
I'm getting those things too.
Yeah, it's grainy and earthy. You ready to try this?
I am.
All right, let's give it a go.
Give it a go.
So the palate is better than the nose, but not by much. I still got a lot of earthy flavors on that.
A lot of graininess, a lot of earthiness.
Yeah. There is some sweetness on there.
It is sweet.
And almost a little bit of fruit. I do catch just a little bit of fruit in the mid palate, but the earthiness on the front and the back just kind of absorb everything else. So it's not my palate.
It's not my palate either. However, it's not offensive to me. So, I mean,
I've had scotches that were worse. To me, this is not my jam. I don't think there's a single malt I would ever recommend.
But
So this is no blow to them. I just can't really judge it.
this is not my jam either. However, again, it's not offensive.
We'll move that as like a NA. You're on the score.
I'm going to finish this though. It's not offensive.
I'm not.
However, it's not for me.
Yeah.
So
Now, out of these two, I enjoyed the rye whiskey. Even though it's at 2 years old, I actually kind of liked it. In fact, the other night I had it as an opener.
yeah,
I thought, oh, this is pretty good. I like that little bubble gum in the middle,
I agree.
and with just a touch of spice. I do wish it like. I can't wait for it to be older and try it again when it's got some viscosity and it kind of clings and sticks around in your mouth, which it doesn't have because of age. But the palate is nice.
Yeah, I agree. And I've had a lot of different whiskeys. This is the first whiskey that I can think of, brand, that I'm ranking their rye above the bourbon. As much as I love Michter's rye and some of these other distillers, I love bourbon, and I am a bourbon guy. This rye is really good.
The bourbon, it wasn't bad. I think it's a little harder to judge the bourbon at a younger age. It was nice on the palate.
It was.
But it was just very thin. And I got to have some more viscosity on there. We got to have a little bit more age. But it wasn't offensive. It didn't have astringency. So it wasn't bad. But to me, the rye was just, that was the hero of these 3 bottles for sure.
Hero of the bottle. However, I am really open to coming out to 10th Mountain for your 4-year anniversary and pulling some really good single barrels out of these 2, because I know they're going to be delicious.
Yeah. All right, so there you go. That is 10th Mountain Whiskey. Their bourbon, their rye, their single malt. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Until remember, the next time, the best bourbon or whiskey
is the one you like the most.
We'll see you.